Survival of the fittest has been the name of the game since the beginning of time. Human instinct is something where the utmost importance is to survive. Because of this, over time people have made progress trying to guarantee they survive. The world's undergone many changes and events that have altered the lives of millions. In this documentary, we're going to cover what we feel are the main events and important happenings of our Earth from the years 1914 to 2010. Human interaction is necessary for our species to continue. People have been interacting and corresponding with one another for a very long time. A prime example of this is trading. Trade has become very globalized, which means what happens in one place will more than likely affect what happens in many other places. U.S. products are very big in many areas. European powers began to slowly decrease, and a blend of nationalism, alliances, industrialization, and militarism led to World War I, II, and the Cold War. After the wars were peace periods, and countries classified as Third World are starting to catch up. People in the United Nations are helping out others that don't have enough money and making international decisions. Changes have been occurring in our world. Europe's lost some of its power, and the U.S. has been gaining power to become the strongest country in the world. New economical and political ideas are being spread and followed. Industrialization is increasing, which has caused new technology and advanced equipment. Examples include the TV, radio, frozen food, motorways, air tankers, the computer, antibiotics, and many others. Some things that have stayed the same are religions are still around today, and people still fight about them. Agriculture and its increasing calorie amount keeps the population growing. At the beginning of the 20th century, there were 2 billion people, and at the end there was 6.1 billion. Some improvements during this time are the turning machine and riding lawnmower. Technology has caused death rates to go down and slowed how fast diseases get spread. During the years 1918 to 1919, the Spanish flu caused 20 to 100 million people to die. AIDS is also being spread quickly. It's made the birth rate go up and has helped healthcare advance. People are moving to places that are more industrialized because they're looking for jobs. Manufacturing and the growing population is hurting the environment, causing more pollution. Weaponry has gotten better, but producing and getting the weapons developed can hurt the environment. Weapons that are being used today include satellites and nuclear weapons. Hinduism is the only religion that has a caste system. However, society always has a gap dividing the wealthy and the poor, or the elite and the lower. In the Western societies, women are getting smarter and more equality, as well as working in different fields. Feminism was supported by many ladies. The population growth rate slows down because women are getting married later. In countries that are developing, women are still basically restricted to doing house chores, but the gap between the rich and the poor gets bigger because of capitalism. Trading, of course, makes people interact with one another. It's caused allies and separations between different countries. A huge thing going on is Americanization. After the Cold War, American culture gets spread quickly. Some people really like these new American ways. However, others, for example the Muslims, generally viewed the new culture styles as threatening. Young people are trying to uncover these American ways and get them more popular in their home country. Once countries started seeing how bad war really and truly was, they started changing their goals and focuses. Governments now try to protect its citizens and keep peace with others, unlike old ones that liked or embraced war. Democracy is found in the West. Communism is found in China, USSR, Cuba, and Vietnam. However, Latin America also had a short time of dictatorship. After the end of World War I, fascism, hierarchical government with a dictator, rose greatly, which ignited World War II. Nationalism allowed people to be proud of their country and the measures that it was taking. Many things have remained the same during this period. Religions and areas have stayed the same, and the U.S. keeps dominating. Central Asia and Africa have experienced economical difficulties. Ethnic conflicts in Eastern Europe and Central Asia continue. Agriculture is still found in Latin America, and Western Europe is known for being racist. Types of changes that took place included technological, social, political, and medical changes. They include decolonization, communism in many places, high-tech industries, the Depression, new weapons, guest workers, third world countries being formed and experiencing industrialization, and lots of population growth. As electricity becomes more and more widely available, inventions like the TV and radio were made to entertain people. Space programs have improved. The U.S. Space Shuttle program was started in the year 1981. Vitamins and antibiotics have really helped the world medical-wise. X-rays helped identify problems and better methods for treating cancer, heart surgery, and blood typing. Cocaine, heroin, and tobacco smoking is found to be harmful. Generally speaking, women have gained a better overall status. Political changes of this time include the World Wars and their effects, the Civil Rights Movement in the U.S. changed racism, and in 1949, the Communist People's Republic that took place of China's last imperial dynasty. The World Wars, the Holocaust, the Cold War, nuclear weaponry, and international organizations have impacted global framework. They have caused better technology, decolonization, and a period of global peace. The U.S. has gotten to be a superpower and started to influence other countries. Europe has lost colonies and some of its influence. The United Nations has protected nations that are weaker, and countries that weren't aligned were benefited by the Cold War. World War I took place from the years 1914 to 1918 and had more than 15 million deaths. Four main factors made the setting for the war. These were nationalism, imperialism, militarism, and alliances. The whole war was basically a domino effect. What should have been a conflict between only two European countries turned into most of Europe being in war. A Serbian terrorist, a member of the Black Hand, shot and killed the Austrian Prince Franz Ferdinand. Austria got so mad they gave the Serbians a list of 10 demands to meet. They weren't able to meet them all because two were especially crazy. Serbia and Russia were friends, so Russia decided to support Serbia, so they mobilized, which is when you put troops and weapons aimed along the border to prepare for war, all along the Austrian-Russian border. Russia did this to Germany, too, because Germany and Austria were friends. This really, really ticked off Germany, so they declared war on Russia. And one of Russia's friends, France. This put Germany in an interesting situation. They were fighting a double front, meaning they had wars on two ends of their country. They came up with the Schlieffen Plan, which involved attacking and beating France. They went through Belgium to get to France, which was a problem, though, because Belgium had said no, and they did anyway. England, who was friends with Belgium, then got involved in the war to fight against Belgium being marched through. The U.S. got involved when Germany attacked ships of ours in the Atlantic. Technology used in the war included tanks, telephones, armored cars, wireless communication, and aircrafts. Germany signed the Treaty of Versailles in 1919. World War II took place from the years 1939 to 1945 and was started because the Germans invaded Poland and broke the pact. The Axis powers, which were Japan, Germany, and Italy, were against the Allied powers, which were Great Britain, France, the Soviet Union, China, the U.S., and Latin America. Adolf Hitler becomes powerful in the mind behind the war. U.S. comes into the war when Japan drops the bombs on Pearl Harbor, which was on December 7, 1941. Germany surrenders because Hitler kills himself, and Japan surrenders after the U.S. drops the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Some after effects of this war include the start of the Cold War, Japan and German empires being destroyed. Nations that were fascist, imperialist, and militarist were left in shambles, and globalization began. The Holocaust was when 6 million European Jews were exterminated during World War II by Nazi Germany and their leading force, a man Adolf Hitler. Auschwitz was one of the most famous execution camps. Jews were mainly taken on German railroads to concentration camps. In 1943, Hitler's speech basically announced that they were planning on killing every Jewish person in Europe. Hitler also targeted homosexuals, Jehovah's Witnesses, Slavs, communists, and gypsies. He had an ideal or supreme race, people that were German blonde, had blue eyes, and were light-skinned, and thought everyone else should be gotten rid of. The Holocaust is remembered today in museums and exhibits in 15 countries all around the world. The Cold War was actually the competition between the U.S. and the Soviet Union and took place from the 1940s to 1900s. The two main wars during this time were the Korean War between South and North Korea and the Vietnam War between North Vietnam and South Vietnam. Nuclear weapons were the main threats during the nuclear war. Russia and Cuba were allies, and the U.S. was very threatened by nuclear weapons from them. Kennedy ordered a naval blockade, and after a week of negotiating with the Soviet Union, there was an end to the launching of any more nuclear weapons and prevention of beginning another world war. The first international organization was the League of Nations. The wars and events caused many negotiations and conflicts between different world powers. The events happened because one power would overpower and defeat another power. In the end, power is either taken or given to countries to kind of balance them out. The U.S. gets more independence, dominance, and power, reducing the influence of Europe. U.S. is number one, and Europe becomes unstable. In the later 1900s, Europe regains some of their The League of Nations was started because of the Treaty of Versailles. Their goals were to uphold the rights of man, prevent war, control weapons, settle countries' disputes, and improve the quality of life for the world. They didn't much impact World War II and the Axis powers' aggressions. The United Nations, which was founded in 1945 after World War II, took the place of the League of Nations. Non-aligned nations aren't obligated any major power nor helped out by the NAM, the non-aligned movement.